Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Adidas X16.1 in leather in the new Speed of Light Pack colorway. Now included with the shoes inside the box is a string bag. As you can see, it's a black perforated mesh with black strings, and then of course has the Adidas logo and X branding there on the front in white. And then along with that bag, you do of course get the shoes themselves, which I have right here. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with the Adidas X16.1 in the synthetic upper variation. In the first colorway pack, the Mercury pack ones, which were silver and orange, they only released a synthetic version, but with the new Speed of Light pack, they've introduced a leather upper variation, which obviously has leather here at the front part of the shoe. That's very clear to see. The material, or at least the texturing of the material on the sides, is a little bit different. And there are some other subtle differences with the overall fit and feel of the shoe as well. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the leather upper variation of the X16.1 from Adidas. We're going to go over tech specs, take a look at the weight of the shoe, how it compares to the synthetic model, and of course take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link in the description that'll take you directly to the review page on my website, where you'll be able to pick these up well below their normal $200 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, pop up on screen, link in the description, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs. Now, the X16.1 in the leather upper variation is kind of the unofficial return of the older leather F50 Adi Zeros. It has the leather at the front, 1/3 leather, 2/3 synthetic. It has the sprint frame with the heel counter that's very reminiscent of the older F50 Adi Zeros. The stud shape is a little bit different, but the layout is pretty much identical as well. The only thing that's going to be a major difference here is going to be this little S-curve heel, and of course the more one-piece construction with the Tech Fit system. But other than that, if you're a fan of those older leather F50s, this is definitely one of those shoes that should be on your radar because it has a lot of those same elements. So with the upper, you do have a 1/3 leather upper. At least that's how I'm kind of dividing it up here in my head, just based on how it looks. 1/3 being from here forward, 2/3 being from there back. This part synthetic. This front part is very clearly leather. So from this seam forward, running across the top of your foot and then cutting off here on the medial side, you have what is an unspecified type of leather. All the tech specs basically just say that it's a leather vamp, and when they don't specify the leather, that generally means it's not kangaroo leather, it's a calf skin, and that's exactly what we used to get on the older F50s as well, and that's exactly how it feels. It's got that kind of good thickness to it, almost like a puffy sensation, if that makes any sense. It's soft, it's flexible, it gets softer and more flexible as you wear it in, and it also has the ability to stretch. So what I think a lot of people liked about those older leather F50s is you got that tight fit through the midfoot, that kind of lightweight, thin synthetic type sensation, but in the forefoot toe box area, you got the softness of the leather, you got a little bit of the touch of the leather when you're dribbling, and it's also just a very comfortable kind of customized sensation that you get from a natural leather material. The stitching pattern, as you can see, is kind of unique in that it doesn't really go to the very bottom edge of the sole plate, but that's not a huge deal. Again, this leather front part will stretch, so if they feel a little bit snug at first, that's not an issue at all. Expect this area of the shoe to stretch a decent amount as you start to wear them in. Now, the rest of the upper, as you can see, is a synthetic material. It's a very different shade as far as the color is concerned, but that's not something that's all that important when it comes to performance. It has somewhat of an artificial leather grain finish to it in comparison to the synthetic model, which I have right here, that obviously has kind of a unique texturing. The actual thickness and material itself is the same though. They haven't really changed anything aside from that outside texturing, so it's not super thin as far as synthetics go, but it definitely is on the thinner side and doesn't really have any kind of a padded feel to it. So just like older F50s, you get kind of a pingy sensation through the synthetic parts of the foot, and then obviously a soft padded feel at the front of the shoe where the leather is positioned. Laces run through the middle, as you guys can see, and the laces are fastened to the shoe using these nylon straps that don't actually run all the way through. They're pretty much cut off right here. They're just there acting as lace holes, so the laces kind of float on top of the upper, but still play a crucial role in terms of locking your foot in place and just providing the necessary structure for an actual soccer shoe when you are under more intense movements. And then of course it does have the Tech Fit system, which essentially just eliminates the tongue on this particular shoe. It's one piece, this kind of exposed orange area with the little kind of crisscross graphic. It's an elasticated material, feels really nice. It makes the shoe a little bit tricky to get on and take off, but once it's on, it fits quite well. Didn't really have any issues with it, and it's, again, pretty much identical to what you're gonna find on the standard synthetic variation, and the fit is good, so there's not too much to complain about, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Moving on to the back of the shoe, you will find that the sides do have kind of a little bit of an extension piece to them. It's not really a mid-cut shoe in my opinion. This is just a low-cut shoe with these little extended pieces. So as far as getting used to them and feeling weird, you don't notice it when you're actually wearing them at all. You have the X-curve design here, which is supposed to alleviate any kind of pressure on the actual Achilles tendon. They could have also done that by just cutting it at a normal point and not having this extended piece going away from your Achilles, but it's there mainly for looks, honestly, guys. This is something that all the brands are doing at the moment, playing around with cuts, because that's kind of the popular cool thing to do right now. It feels comfortable though, no issues with heel slippage, no issues with discomfort as far as rubbing is concerned. It just looks a little bit different, and that's kind of the only performance aspect that it has on offer. Moving on to the inside, you have the same liner you'll find on the synthetic model, being kind of like almost like a rubbery latex type material as far as the finish is concerned. It's a little bit grippy against your sock, and there's lots of padding back there as well. So the lockdown and, again, general comfort in the heel area is very, very good, which I'm a fan of. The insole, fully removable. I'll give you guys a quick look at that. It features a synthetic suede liner on top, and it's just a single layer of this black foam. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. Then moving on to the sole plate, you do have a one-piece heel counter attached to that. Pretty much the exact same design that we saw on the original Sprint frames from the F50 Adizero in 2010. And then, of course, the sole plate. It's got the stiffener bars through the middle, thinner plastic at the front, has decent flexibility to it, and it's the same layout that we've been seeing from Adidas for years and years now. You have the 4 studs under the heel, the 6 studs in the forefoot, 1 support stud in the middle, and they all have kind of their own unique shape to them in that some of them are slightly conical, and then there's little, they almost look like little Pac-Men to me, but that's kind of the thing they've been doing with all their stud patterns as of late. It's the same layout, they just change the shape of the stud a little bit, but ultimately the performance ends up being pretty similar amongst all of them, despite the difference in stud shape. These are also FG-AG, so you are safe to wear these on firm natural grass and artificial grass. It's definitely more of an FG stud pattern in my opinion, and it performs really well on natural grass, but if you do use these on artificial grass, while they aren't dangerous to wear, while it shouldn't technically hurt durability of the shoe based on what Adidas is saying, I really don't think that it's a true AG stud pattern. With that said, you can do it. It's just not necessarily something that I truly recommend, even though Adidas is saying that it's 100% doable. So do that kind of at your own risk, and whatever you want to do, that's completely up to you. But I just know that if you buy these, while it's labeled as true FG-AG, it's not really a true AG stud pattern. It's definitely an FG stud pattern at its core, in my opinion, but it does get the job done, and performance is pretty good overall. It's a stud pattern that a lot of you guys have used if you've worn an Adidas shoe over the last, 6 years now. So if you enjoyed that stud pattern, you'll enjoy this one because, like I said, for the most part, it's pretty much the same. And again, from a technical standpoint, there's not a whole lot different from the synthetic model, just the fact that you do have a little bit of leather here at the front, and it does change up the overall feel and comfort level of the shoe to a certain extent, but ultimately it comes down to personal preference. Not one of these is better than the other. It just comes down to what you like. I think if you want something like those older F50s, this is definitely something to consider. But if you're looking for more of a true leather experience, there are better options out there in terms of shoes that offer a full leather upper. So just keep that in mind if you are planning on picking these up or at all considering them. But as a package, I don't have too much to complain about here. It's kind of something Adidas did in the past, was successful for them. People really liked it, so they kind of brought it back here with the X16.1 in leather. In terms of weight, I thought we'd compare the synthetic variation of the X16.1 to the leather variation to see if there's any significant difference between the two. Now, I'm going to be weighing both shoes for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind these are both the exact same size 9 US, so this is a very fair comparison. We'll start off with the synthetic version, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.55 ounces, the equivalent of 214 grams. Remember those numbers, change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the leather version, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.35 ounces, so 0.2 ounces less actually, the equivalent of 208 grams. So that's a weight difference of, 6 grams. Very, very minimal. Not something that honestly you're going to notice either in hand or on feet. The biggest difference on feet that you're going to notice between the synthetic and leather version is just the general feel, because this does have leather at the front part of the shoe. So if you're trying to decide between these two shoes, weight should not be the deciding factor. They're both in the mid 7-ounce range. They're both relatively lightweight on your feet. What you should be focusing on is the feel that it provides on feet, as well as the feel that it provides in terms of touch on the ball. As far as aesthetics and the colorway is concerned, I don't think these look bad. I don't think they look amazing either. There's a pretty harsh seam here happening at the 1/3 mark of the shoe where it transitions from synthetic to leather. But aside from that, there's nothing about this that I think looks bad in any way. I think the new X series in general is a pretty cool looking design. I know everyone has their own mixed opinions. As far as the colorway itself is concerned, this is the Speed of Light Pack colorway, which features pretty much solid solar red, which is basically kind of like a bright orange color. There is, like I mentioned earlier, kind of a harsh difference in color between the natural leather and synthetic part of the upper, but again, that's kind of something you're going to come across with any bright colored shoe when you have synthetic and leather on the same upper. The laces all orange, the actual nylon straps are all orange, the little exposed piece at the top is orange. You have the silver Adidas branding, which does have some sandpaper texturing to it. You have the embossed Tech Fit and X logos there on the medial side. Then the sole plate is all orange in color with translucent tip studs. So overall, very bright shoes. Let me know what you guys think of the look of the leather variation down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the leather X16.1s on feet. On my left foot I have the stock laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of junior length Orange Punch reflective SR4U replacement laces. I went with junior length ones just because the stock laces, for whatever reason, are kind of unnecessarily long for how many lace holes there are. So the junior length ones, at least in a 9 US, if you have a bigger foot, maybe go for the regular length ones. But like I said, in a 9 US, the junior length works pretty good, and you eliminate a lot of extra slack because you can't really tuck it away anywhere on this particular shoe. Nonetheless, if you are interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link in the description that'll take you directly to the website. So go ahead and check it out if you are at all interested. As far as how these things fit and feel on feet, they're very comfortable from right out of the box. They feel different from the synthetic model in that you do have that leather at the front, which is noticeably softer than the synthetic upper on the standard variation. It's flexible, it feels very, very comfortable. And again, it reminds me a lot of those older F50 Adizero models, although not quite as tight through the midfoot. With this Tech Fit system, it's more of an open fit overall. The shoe's a little bit difficult to put on and take off, but once it's actually on your foot, it's not as tight as the opening would suggest, if that makes any sense. There's a decent amount of width. I was really worried about feeling the seam where it transitions between leather and synthetic, but you don't really notice that all that much at all when you're actually wearing the shoe. And again, you're going to get that stretch and kind of flexibility at the front of the shoe where the leather is located. As far as width is concerned, these are going to be suitable for most people. It does have a tighter fit through the midfoot, but I wouldn't say that it's narrow by any means. If you have really, really wide feet, maybe not the best option, but I think for most people, these will fit you quite comfortably. And as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the leather Adidas X16.1 in the Speed of Light Pack colorway. If you guys are interested in a pair for yourself, you can go ahead and click the little eye in the corner or the first link down below in the description, and it'll take you directly to the review page on my website, where you'll find Buy It Now links, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. So again, eye in the corner, link in the description. Go ahead and check it out if you are at all interested. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.